Hi, welcome. Today we're going to be doing this actual origami wipe. This is inspired by the last tutorial I made on the origami-ish wipe. Let's get to it. Drag cross dissolve from fusion section of the transitions. Between your footage, click on the transition. Let's make this 2 seconds. Let's open it in Fusion. Drag media out. Disconnect it. Delete cross dissolve. Drag media in 2 down. Let's move media in 1. Off the bits. Start working on it. Pull in a merge node. Pull into rectangle mask nodes. Connect this to that. This rectangle mask 1. Increase the width and height. Rectangle mask 2. Set the width and height to 1.5. Drag this to the viewer. Click on rectangle 2. Set this angle to 45 degrees. Then move this. Let's move it down a bit, like that. Then move it like that. So make sure it touches this corner here. Let's drag this up using the middle mouse button. Holding it down, then let's zoom in a bit to see what we're working on. Okay, so I'm moving this down. I think that's perfect. Let's go back to fit the screen. Click on this rectangle mask, go to paint mode and click on subtract. So you have this nice corner thing going. Let's connect this to the masking bit of merge 1 to arrange things. Put that there and this here. Pull in a background node. Drop the alpha to 0, connect it to the background input of merge 1, connect media in 1 to the foreground of merge 1. Let's create a pipe for media in 1 because we're going to connect to multiple merge nodes by holding down Alt on the keyboard and clicking on this too. Cool. Drag this here. Let's move this background here. We're going to reuse this a lot during this thing. Let's connect this to, so we want this to flip, sorry, and drag this to the viewer. We want this to flip down this way. So click on merge 1, shift space bar, type DV, enter, shift space bar, type and add another DV. So this first DV, drag it to the viewer, set the pivot point so that it's at this edge here because we're going to flip it this way. So let's zoom in a bit to 100%. And move the pivot point to, it's barely visible. See this thing here? Barely visible. Wow. It's not fair the way it's so not visible. And so I move that there. I think that's fine. It looks okay. Yep, it looks okay. Right, so we move on. We click on this. We rotate this at 45 degrees. So it's vertical. Let's fit to screen. And we right click on the Y values. We want to rotate it this way, right? Increase it by. So we just go to modify with anim curves, modifiers, 180, set the easing to sine, and then we want this whole cycle to finish in 10 frames. The length of this comp is 50, and this is in 10 frames. So we're gonna go here, and the scale is going to be 5. That's 50 divided by 10. So if we play this from here to here, you just see this in shape like that. We go to DV2, we go to the beginning of the clip, and we use DV2 to correct the rotation back. So set this to 45. But we should have copied this pivot point here, copy this, and paste it here. Because at the beginning, this is like that. So this is minus 45 degrees. So set that to minus 45 degrees, and then if we play it back, we see it flip down like that. Great. So we go to the next frame, which is frame 10. We want this to now flip this way. This is easy. You just set the pivot point here and flip it. So we get to this, we add a DVE node. Like we said, we move the pivot point to this edge. Let's zoom in to see what we are working on. Move the X value down to that point is barely visible. This thing. Wow, 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 wow. We move it there so we see that it's just about the right position. Then we go here, right click on the Y value, modify with anim curves, modifiers, sign, ease in, sign, ease out. Set the time scale to 5. I know this starts at frame 10. So frame 10 divided by 50 gives us 0.2. So offset is 0.2. We move on. Let's do the fit. This now flips like that. Let's drag this to the viewer. It flips like this, but it's still showing us this upper image on the spot. We wanted to show us the image that was here when it turns its back here. To do that, let's copy this. Let's paste it somewhere here. Let's copy this mask here. Let's also paste it somewhere here. Let's bring in, let's just try and do adjustment of this. Let's bring in a transform node, connect this to the transform node. We ensure it's connected to the yellow input, not the blue input. So drag it and connect to the yellow input. Drag the transform node to the viewer. So we see this. But let's put in a merge node. I want to place this on top. Let's put this on the background or the foreground and connect this to the background. So if we drag this to the viewer, see this. I want this to, at this point here, I want this to be at the same point here. So I go to this transform, flip it, and flip it. So we have the same orientation. Now it's just to move it to be aligned. So I move it to make sure it's aligned. And let's zoom in just to make sure that it's perfect. Now we have the correct mask here. Let's drag a merge node, connect this pipe from media in 1 to the foreground of this merge node, connect the background to the background for merge 2, and connect this mask here. Let's move the transform here, and let's connect this now to this DV. Let's pull in a merge node. Connect that here to the background of Merge 3 and connect the V3 to the foreground of Merge 3. Let's tag this to the viewer. See, it's not perfectly aligned, so I can go to the transform and adjust it however slightly to make sure it's aligned. Yeah, that's it. But we want a situation where this switches over and listen to fit. We want a situation where as this turns over, it switches to this one. Okay, so to get that to work that way, we are going to right click on the blend, modify with anim curves. So I want it to be 1, the foreground to be showing, but at a point I want the background to now start showing. Okay, so but I want this to not happen at this predefined point. I've done this thing before, so it gets to 0.3 appears to be the sweet spot for this. So 0.3, so 1. Okay, so if we go here and we play this as it's rotating, see it rotates and then gives us the other side. We're beginning and go here, flips, down, flips, shows us the back of that. We go to the next one, wants to flip up here. To do that, you bring in 2 DV nodes again. Another DV node. The first DV node, drag it to the viewer. I want to rotate it so that's vertical. Before we rotate it, we want to move the pivot point to the edge here. So we zoom in as usual, 100%. Barely visible thing. We can move it to this corner here, to this edge here, so I move it down, 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 down. Then we move it there. 8.5, it appears to be perfect. Then we copy the same pivot point, copy, and then we go here and paste. Then we go to DB4 is going to fit, and then I rotate it like that, so it's -45. Then I right click on Y, modify with anim curves. This is starting from frame 20. So I'm going to go here. This would be starting from 0.4, that's 0.2 in 2 places. Then easing to sine. Then the time scale to 5 times. Go to DV5, drag that to the viewer. I want to now correct this to what it was before. And move that to 45 degrees. And we are back. Drag this to the viewer now. And we play it step by step. You see it flips up like that to that point. So when this flips, let's go again. When this flips, shows the back, we right back. But when this flips, I want it to show me the back of what was here, up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, paste it here, copy this mask setup here, paste it here. Then I'm going to pull in a merge node. Connect this background here to the background of merge 4. Connect the pipe or media in 1 to the foreground of merge 4. Let's move this whole thing up a little. Then this mask too, I can move it up a little. But I want to frame 20. I want to create my mask to have the same mask here. If I drag this to viewer, you see it's not the same thing. I just need to flip it this way. I click on this mask, flip it this way, and then I can move it. But I want to make sure it sits perfectly on, perfectly on this one. So what I'm going to do is drag a merge node here. Let's do no viewer so you get to see what I'm working on. Let's drag this here. So I want to move this in the exact position where this is, but to make it perfect, I'll just use a merge node to connect this to the foreground, connect this to the background. Let's drag this in the viewer so you see this on top of that. Let's go to this transform, move it, move it, move it, move it. Go here onto 100%. Looks like it's perfect. Surprise, surprise. Okay, go here, fit. That's 4.062. Let's delete this merge just to measure things up. I'll connect this to the mask input of this merge. Drive this to the viewer so we have this sitting there pretty. Click here, scale. Now this DVE node that I added here, let's connect this there and pull this to the viewer. And move these forward a little. And pull in a merge node, connect this to the foreground. Connect this to the foreground, connect this to the background. Let's pull this back. So we want a situation where projects to this viewer. Okay, as this rotates, as it gets to between this point and this point, it should change the background image. You should change the image to this image, right? So we go here, go to blend, right click, modify with anim curves, go to modifiers, custom, set this, and you see this happens now right now. Let's go there so you see what I'm talking about. See, this kind of happens at the middle, which is 24 and 25. So I go here, modifiers, let's go here to 0.5, 0, click here, 0.5, 1. Just to be sure it works, I go to shade 24, I look at the blend value as I move. So looking at the blend value, see it changes to 1. This is what I want. But in this particular instance, I want it to be 1 and turn to 0. So I go back to this merge, I go to the modifiers. So I want it to be 1, then I want it to turn to 0. That's -1 to turn to 0. So you now move it to say, and then it turns to 0, it shows the back. So you click on this, you now want this to flip this way. Easy. You add another DVE node. Drag this to the viewer, to the right viewer. I move the pivot point to the edge here where I want it to flip out, right? And this edge here is, well, it's 1. So just click here and type 1. Then we go to Y value, Y rotation, that is. Where I click on it, go to anim curves, click on anim curves, then set the ease in to sine, then the scale will be 90 because I want it to just flip out. Let's go here, then we go here, we go to modify, set this to 90, set this to 10 because it's doing a shorter distance, half the distance, so we double the time scale. And this is happening, it's going to start happening at frame 30, which is 0.2 for the first 10 frames, 0.4, it needs to be 0.6. Okay, if you want a tutorial on how I do the calculations for time scale and time offset, do let me know in the comment section. I might do a quick tutorial on how to do the calculations. It's pretty relatively straightforward. Not that straightforward, but yeah, relatively straightforward. Moving on. So we go here and then we set that to this moves out, and that's that. One final merge node. Then we copy this again. Copy, paste, copy this DVE, paste, and I connect this to this DVE. Whilst we sort things out here, let's connect this background node to the background input of merge 6. Connect, and let's drag this up to create some space. Connect a pipe output of media in 1, pipe it into the foreground of merge 6. Then I want this, I drag this up to here. I want this mask to have, let's go to 30 to have the same shape as this. So what I'm going to do, go to this transform. First I'm going to flip it this way. It's going to go back in. Now I'm going to flip it this way so it has that same shape. But I want it to be perfect. So I'm going to put in a merge node. I'm going to connect this to the background and connect this transform to the foreground and drag this to the viewer. So I will zoom in here just to see if it works. I will ignore the dog. Let's just move on. Let's move that there. I think it's perfect there. This is more 200 C. Enrollment. I think it's okay there. We can delete this merge. I just used it to make sure this is positioned correctly. Move this here and connect this transform to the mask input of merge 6. Moving on, doggy dog. Let's drag a merge node and put this on the foreground. Connect this to the background. And let's drag this to the right viewer and let's make it a single viewer and drag this down and see what we've done. Click on here. So it looks like this is not even remotely connected to the rest. Interesting. So I'm going to go to this transform and move it so it's connected perfectly like that. Okay. So we play the whole thing and see whether everything is perfect. It's a little system intensive. Let's go to the beginning, just a few adjustments. Now there's a thin line here, I just need to correct that, I'll correct that. But let's just see the full thing. Flips, flips, flips. Good. Let's go to the beginning. See this thin line? It needs to be corrected. That's probably this one. I just need to move it out a bit. Let's around control and move it out a bit. Okay. And you're good to go. So let's play this back again. Damn good. Even if I say so myself. You go to media into, connect this to media into, get the media out, and connect that out. Drag back to the viewer, go to the beginning, display, and we're good to go. That's how origami wipe should be. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this one. I'll be releasing this transition over the weekend, and I just need to package it together into something. I want to also add a few things here and there to make it a little bit more exciting, more interesting to use. Thanks for watching and have a nice one.